If you want to support any of the podcasts produced by Multiple World Productions, consider going to multipleworldproductions.com/books, where you can pick up any of my released Kindle books, including the Operation Swansong trilogy, Our Past Does Not Define Us, In the End, the Echo Omega series, and Sizzle Reel for just $2.99 each. Thank you.
Welcome to Beware of Spoilers, Video Game Edition. I am Adam. This game especially is brought to you by Gamefly, which you can get a free 30-day trial of using the link in our description. Just go to multipleworldproductions.com/sponsors and click the link for Gamefly there. Free 30-day trial. Try games before you buy them. You know the drill. I've been talking about it for weeks now. If you don't know what Gamefly is, check them out. It's like Netflix, the old style Netflix, where they send the DVD to your house. It's like that for video games. And not just for new games, for older games too. They have some older games on there. It's definitely worth checking out, and you get a free 30-day trial if you sign up using our link. Anyway, this game is not on Gamefly, because this game is digital only. And it is available on Switch for sure, PC for sure. I'm not sure about PlayStation and Xbox off the top of my head. This is Tron Identity, which I've been calling Tron Legacy over and over again when talking about it outside of this. Tron Legacy being the movie with Olivia Wilde and who was the other guy in it? Was it, I forgot who the other person in it was. I remember Olivia Wilde. She had that weird haircut. When it was really in vogue for everyone to do the bob, because it was like she had it there, and then like wasn't at the same time as Ant-Man and the first Ant-Man movie, where where Evangeline Lilly had it too. Anyway, and what's her name in Jurassic World? Notwithstanding haircuts, Tron Identity is a kind of visual novel style game from Bithell Games. Bithell Games, who previously did Thomas Was Alone and John Wick Hex and a few other games. They have a pretty robust catalog, and they have a pretty solid track record. And I did really love this game. It's a visual novel, which, for those of you who don't know what a visual novel is, it's kind of a choose-your-own-adventure book, but in video game form. With branching stories and different things happening depending on what decisions you make during the investigation. Your entire thing is you're investigating a crime that happened in the grid from Tron, obviously, and you are going to you're going to get to the bottom of what happened. And as the story progresses, you are going to you're going to look around, you're going to observe things in the room, you have to ask questions of suspects, you have to make your own choices. And then the choices you make in the dialogue tree will impact how characters react further down the line, because it'll impact the way that their story branches too. Which is a really interesting mechanic and look, granted, I'm going to be honest, I haven't played many visual novels. I don't know if this is new or not. But I do really love the way it is implemented here, because it does add a level of depth beyond just you're making decisions and it's going to have a marginal impact. Like, that's always the joke with the Bethesda games like Fallout, where it's like there are 4 dialogue options. It's like yes but mean, yes but shy, yes but you need to have charisma. Like that is kind of what those kind of games are, where it's like, yeah, you have a branching dialogue tree, but it's not really impacting the game any besides the response you get as you agree or disagree to do whatever you're being asked to do. Whatever the plot kind of railroads you into doing. This is very much, you have the ability to play the story out however you want. You have the complete control. And I found this out relatively early on when they introduced a character. Her name was Proxy, I think. Yes, Proxy, because it's the same name as the droid from Force Unleashed. They introduced her, and there's the thing, the fighter. and then when you do, you kill her. If you pick one of the options, I'm like, oh shit, alright. So that's just one less character I have access to now. And when you look at the, what's it called? If you look at the option tree that they have for each character, if you go into the menu, or like the guide, like, it's just like, she died. Like, and that's the end of that. And then it's like, there's so many other things you can do that aren't there. Visually, the game is beautiful. I love everything about the aesthetic of the game. I think that they really nailed the look and feel of Tron. And I think that this takes the material and elevates in a way that we don't expect. That I mean, look, I didn't 100% expect it to be this mature, because it is a noir detective story in the grid. It is, a true cyberpunk detective story. Quick sidebar. Has anyone else noticed the Toyota logo from the front of cars has been going missing lately? Because I've been noticing that a lot. I've been seeing like you know how you have like the logo for the car on the front? I've been noticing a lot of cars are missing the Toyota logo. And it's specifically Toyotas, where someone is stealing the logos from the front of cars, and I'm not entirely sure why. That's all. Anyway, but like the aesthetic of the game is fantastic. Like everything about it, like the library is such a cool look. Like the CEO's like office is such a cool look, and everything about this game is just so interesting. The defragmenting segments are puzzles that are both legitimately challenging and also just a smidge, with enough accessibility options to make them easy to play. And I do like those puzzles. That is kind of what makes the game kind of fun. There is an endless mode, which is kind of cool too. And I think that the defragmenting is probably the best part of the gameplay. Like, if you're looking for a solid gameplay, that's the best part. Narratively, the game does a lot, and the game does a great job with the narrative. But the issue with the in terms of actual gameplay, besides the defragmenting portions, you're just kind of going through cutscenes to get to the defragmenting portions. You're going to defragment someone's identity disk, and then you're going to then they're going to give you more of the plot, and then you're going to continue on that way. Which is kind of an interesting, way to do the story, and also a way to mix up what we normally think of in terms of what a visual novel is and what a visual novel does. Because it's not just you playing through this story and just watching what happens, it is you actively acting on the plot. So it's an interesting kind of thing that they're doing there, and I really appreciate the way that they do that. Oh good, road work. That's what the problem is. I'm sitting here, I'm like, why is there so much traffic? That's why. There's road work, and in New York, we now have speed cameras in roadwork zones, which is great. So people are taking that super seriously. But yeah, I think that this is a fantastic game. It's only $15, which is also a good, nice low price point where it's not going to break the bank for you to play it. And I think that is another thing that does kind of work in its favor, is that because it's so cheap, you're not sitting here with this massive financial investment. And the thing is, too, it's like, for what the game is, when I tell you you're buying a visual novel, you're like, oh, that's not, $15 for visual novel isn't great. It's like, the defragmenting puzzles are fun enough to make it worth that alone, but then on top of that, too, to have the story be as different every time you play it, based on the choices you make, and not in a superficial way. It's just that different things happen as you play through it, depending on which options you take. It is a fantastic exercise in what can be done with what can be done with that medium, that genre of game. And I think they do a great job with that. But yeah, I think we will wrap up there for today. So I said I was going to do this one in the afternoon, and then in the morning I was going to do Am I Being Unreasonable, but I'm flipping that. We're going to do Am I Being Unreasonable this evening, or this afternoon after I get out of work, before seeing Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret. And then tonight I'll be seeing Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret. So, we have that kind of all happening. And then we also have Mandalorian tomorrow. Very much looking forward to watching The Mandalorian tonight. But yeah, we'll be talking about that tomorrow once we see how that episode pans out. And I'd be curious to see what happens there. But yeah, I think this is as good a place as any to leave off. Check out Tron Identity. Tron Identity is definitely worth the money and the time to play through it and play through it thoroughly. Especially if one likes good narrative games. If this is the approach that Disney's going to take with some of their IP in the video game space and give them to studios that have a unique look and feel, I think this is a great choice all around. I also would like to see, maybe if they do this with the live action as well, that would also be cool. But I can't, speak to that specifically. But we'll wrap up there for today. So until later today, have a great rest of your week.
This podcast is a production of Multiple World Productions. For more details about all the other things happening on all three podcasts, check out multipleworldproductions.com.